Jude Benedict, transgender queer musician.
Hi, I'm Jude, and I am a trans-masculine, genderqueer identified individual, which, to me, this says that I have transitioned using hormone therapy to have masculine features. If you're thinking like pink to blue, it's kind of hard to think just like one color and the other. That's just not how the human experience is. Being trans is just becoming who you are. That's it. The way my story goes is around like first, second, third grade that the way that I was presenting myself, it was mostly like an embarrassing thing for my mom. I was perceived to be one thing and I just wasn't. I had a lot of rough experiences. And I didn't really kind of delve into my transness, if you will, until 2010. I had some really supportive doctors. Actually, Joanne, that you were talking to me about, I was her first. She's my fave. Everybody that I've known, she's treated us very well.
So I'm Joanne Goodall. I'm a nurse practitioner at the Center for Adolescent and Young Adult Health in Oakland. I started providing care to the transgender community about 6 years ago. The basics of somebody who is transgender or gender expansive, there's a few different parts to each person. One of them is your gender identity, and that's really in your brain. It's who you are in reference to male, female, both, neither. It's just where is somebody on that spectrum of gender. Only the person themselves can say who they are. Then there's your sexual orientation. Who are you attracted to romantically, sexually? And those things are separate. And then there's genitals, which is how someone's identified at birth. That doesn't always match with the person when they're older, but you don't know that when the baby's born. And there's your expression, and that's how you put it out to the world. Genderqueer is feeling that you are both masculine and feminine. And more than, it's not the same as I wear a dress today, I wear pants tomorrow. It's really feeling both male and female at the same time.
I actually really celebrate the fact that I have a uterus and really celebrate my trans masculine identity because I am who I am. And just because I'm trans masculine doesn't mean I have to give my uterus up. Or just because I am trans at all doesn't mean that I have to like go get a surgical penis. I want to keep my uterus out of thanks for the body that I was given, because I wouldn't be me without it. I never had regular cycles. It wasn't like oh my god, the PMS is really, really difficult and I am, I'm cramping a lot and I'm experiencing terrible pain. I fortunately never really, I got my period really late and, they would come like every 5 months, every 3 months, every 7 months there was one point. The time that it was probably the most regular was like whenever I was living in a house with my now wife, one other super uterus. My wife had a super uterus. Like, I bled last week. Like, super uterus. In my experience, I did not have, I didn't have regular cycles, and at least from 2010 on, I was just really, like, dysphoric. I got my period, I was like, I was put on this earth with this body. It was very confusing having a period and being a trans masculine identifying individual.
One of the things with menstruation is that for some folks, cis or trans, that can feel very overwhelming. Some people welcome it, some people don't. Menstrual cycles can really hurt people in a way. It makes some people anxious. It doesn't do this to everybody, but it can make someone very anxious, very overwhelmed. It's a physical, sometimes painful, very intense reminder that your body is not where you want it to be. that your body still has very feminine parts. Very high functioning people can have full anxiety attacks during a menstrual cycle. We have had young kids coming in who have been suicidal during each menstrual cycle because it's such a betrayal to their identity and it's so overwhelming to them, and they would call it being very dysphoric about their gender, that their body's not matching their identity, and that menstrual cycles and chests particularly are very dysphoria causing, very upsetting, very betraying to a person.
With the testosterone, my period stopped real quick. And that was just kind of like one better thing. I was still like binding my chest, I had big breasts. It was before I had a bilateral mastectomy. Whenever I'm not as regular with my shots, I will bleed sometimes. And in the past, it's been really hard for me. It's been really hard. It can like bring up a whole bunch of different feelings, like more than I even care to kind of go into right now. Because there's this thin line that you walk on being trans. You can be a caregiver that wants to give life to children, but you can also be masculine. I thought to myself, like, this period isn't terrible. I mean, think about it. Like, you've walked through a lot in life, and there are some people that have never had a period, and they would really love to have one. And they would love to have a uterus that works. Periods aren't easy. I mean, in my story, they're not. I just really appreciate the fact that I was given the perspective of what we would call in our societies, whatever, of a woman. Being transmasculine, I feel like that's really brought me home to my womanhood as well. I have a deep sense of respect and love and appreciation for all of the women in my life. For a special reason.
You gotta open it up and let my words in, 'cause there's no reason to be lonely when I love you. It's never so easy, 'cause all I remember, ooh, it's true, you've really hurt me, and we could learn from these mistakes. If you leave me, if you love me, I remain the same. No mistake. One must decide. We work for happiness and make it right. To stand your ground, rise before the world and stay and lose your mind. It's sweet, you see, when sound is just rotation in a melody.